All right, so welcome everybody for our first ever Green Educator Network panel talk. Today we've got some amazing teachers with you, and our topic is going to be about planning a whole school event. In this case, Earth Day just passed last week, and we had everybody from the smallest to the geezers together having fun. We got to party. This event is part of the Green Educators Network, something that we realized as we were running the Green Educators course was something needed. We had these educators from all over the world saying, we want more, we want to get together, we want to build a community of practice. And here we are, ready to share a little more in depth, a little more detail about what Green School is and how it operates from teacher, student, and community perspective. So I just want to go to Earth Day. It was the first all-community event. It was the first day we got to open up our doors and let people in the front. And while it was called Earth Day, it really felt like a human day for me. It was a day where some of the spirit that I think schools all around the world have been really missing could be seen again. It was a chance to dance and party and have a great time. And it didn't happen without some work. And so today I'm going to talk with three people who put together events as part of that. To my left, I have Emma, who is in early years. You want to share a bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Emma. I'm from the UK, and I've been teaching in Green School for the past 5 years, both in lower primary and in early years in kindergarten.
And then we actually had student-planned events. Fynn is our exemplar of that. Fynn, take it away.
Thank you so much, Noan. I've been at Green School for about 5 years, and I'm now a 12th grader. And this was part of my Greenstone project.
Nice. Finally, we have Kania, who works with the Green School Foundation.
Hi, my name is Kania, and I'm from Bali. I've been with the Green School since 2016, and my work at the school is to bridge the local and international communities and also fundraising for our scholarship program.
Awesome. And so before we get started in some of the details, any immediate feelings of how you felt on our Friday event?
It was great. And I think we all talked together before that it wasn't really an Earth Day, but it was actually an Earth Week. So a lot of the activities happened from Monday through Friday. And it was kind of on the Friday, it was really a culmination of kind of, like that excitement, that party feel, everyone on the field together. So it was like a celebration of all that we had done that week.
So I've been on, as I said, on the school for 5 years. And I have been on the school before Corona and during Corona, and I felt like Friday was the real Green School. Everyone was there, everyone was on the field, and it just felt like the old days, the normal Green School.
For me, I think it was quite overwhelming in so many ways. It was really the first time, as you said, Noan, the first time our whole community got together since COVID. So it was quite overwhelming in a good way.
We all need to give a bit of a for that one. So we're feeling good. We're feeling happy. We're going to share each a bit about the details of our individually planned things, and we've put together some videos for that. So we'll start with something that Emma took the little kids through, a trash walk, and you'll find out more about that after this short trash walk video. All right. So awesome video. What was up with that kid throwing the stick? Is that even allowed in schools?
Oh, I'm not sure about that one. They definitely had a lot of fun, and yeah, as you can see, that some of them were picking up the trash, the rubbish, just with like the stick with a pointy thing on the end, which was exciting for some of them. Others were kind of picking up with their hands, so you saw the important hand washing at the end. But yeah, I think on all of their faces, you saw like that excitement. And especially that feeling of community with the parents there as well, which was really nice. As Fynn had mentioned before, just we're kind of building up those opportunities for parents to kind of be involved in and around school again, which is so nice.
Nice. And trash walks for us are like just another piece of our vocabulary, but for the world, they're like, what is a trash walk, perhaps? So when were you introduced to it, and have you done these before this Earth Day?
Yeah, so trash walk, it kind of feels like your inauguration into Green School. So as you're kind of coming in as a new teacher, a new faculty member, they'll often take you out on a trash walk. So I was saying before, my picture on the poster that you might have seen, I'm like red and sweaty because they had only just taken us out on these rice field walks, and we were doing a trash walk as part of it. And then straight after, they're like, okay, let's take your kind of professional photo. We're all like sweating and pink. So that's where that picture is from. So yeah, definitely trash walk is a big part of Green School. And it's kind of nice to see that coming back a little bit, being able to go out. And as I said before, with parents, it's really good.
When you're walking through the community, I mean, one of the things about Green School is a lot of the kids get driven up to the gates and dropped off. So what's their feeling when they're actually exploring our neighborhood?
Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, they get dropped off in the car park, and then they kind of come straight from that car park area straight into school. So kind of being able to take them out and have a walk around, it is great. So like one of our focuses is that local to global. And a lot of the children live a little bit further out, whether it's up in Ubud or further down in Canggu. So a lot of them actually don't know the local area all that well. So again, this is another opportunity to kind of leave the school gates and to see a little bit further. For this trash walk, we were just actually in the car park area and kind of the local warung, or the little kind of restaurant food area there. But yeah, great opportunity to explore a little bit further than our school gates.
Nice. Fynn, have you ever been on a trash walk as a Green School student?
Yes, I remember in grade 10, actually, also walking, I think, the same path, and also clearing up the trash around our community, around our campus.
Awesome. So with such an event, you said it hasn't been a while since you've done it, and I'm really interested what you would consider the big pluses, some of the things you're like, you know, I want to change that next time. Maybe we'll try to do this differently in the future. So what was your reflection on it, and how would you evolve what you did just last Friday?
Yeah. So it was interesting to see the children's reaction to the trash walk as well. So some children were kind of gung-ho, wanting to pick up as much as they could. And there was parents that were like, come on, let's get more, let's get more. There's some children that are just kind of happy wandering around, watching what there is. So yeah, my reflection of that, it would be really great to kind of do it a little bit more often. So there's some children who like wouldn't even want to touch the rubbish at all, whether they had like some gloves on or something at the very most. But it's such a great opportunity just to encourage them to kind of, yeah, see that there, and just to get involved a little bit more, to kind of see that there is rubbish around, and that they can be part, even as young as 3, 4, 5, they can be part of kind of helping the environment, helping nature, or helping Mother Earth, as they love to say. Yeah.
Super nice. And I'm just curious, with this, there is a piece where you've got little kids coming out and they're kind of recognizing a problem in nature, that people throw their garbage around. How would you deal with some of that where it's not super comfy for a young kid to experience that? And in our course, we talk about ecophobia. How would you address that?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. So in early years and also lower primary, our goal is really to instill a love for nature, a love for animals, just, yeah, for them to experience that connection with nature. And then it's kind of further up into primary, middle, and high school, you're starting to look at solutions. You're starting to look at what we might call kind of the scary reality. So yeah, we try and keep it light in early years. Like, yeah, we want to help Mother Earth. The plastic here is not letting the plants grow, or the animals might eat it. And we're wanting to kind of help them, not necessarily focusing on the problem, but focusing on kind of, yeah, helping Mother Earth. Yeah.
Question. So, for example, the new kids that joined this year, have you seen them develop and maybe play with bugs, or, for example, pick up trash? Like the kids that aren't comfortable with picking up trash, have you seen them try it?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so some of our new students this year, I would say in early years, everyone is excited about bugs. Everyone's excited about kind of discovering something. Just last week, we found some tiny eggs. One of the children found these eggs like in a corner of a bush. And then they're like, come see these eggs, come see these eggs. And all the children are rushing around and we're thinking, okay, what kind of eggs are these? Is it snake eggs? Is it a bird egg? Then the eggs are on the floor. So do birds ever lay their eggs on the floor? Yeah, so for us, that's really the focus and kind of being curious. We have a frog pond down at Kindy. So every day they're kind of fishing out tadpoles and looking at them and learning how to handle the frogs carefully. But yeah, as far as the trash walk, there's definitely some children who don't like to pick up the trash and who are kind of think it's really disgusting, thinks it's gross. And yeah, it is. It's gross to have trash thrown on the floor. But yeah, just to encourage them with that teamwork, like you saw in the video, there's one child holding open a bag. There's another one that's got the pokey thing and one's trying to get it in. And then there's a third child who's kind of helping them to get it inside the bag. So yeah, just that real feeling of teamwork. So if you don't want to touch the trash, it's okay. You can help to hold the bag. Yeah, so kind of instilling that teamwork in them too.
Sorry, just to add, I do think though, what you were saying, Noan, when we are surrounded by a community that talk about sustainability and issues and problems a lot, sometimes how to deal with that at home. And my son, my 5-year-old, is a part of the early years program, and he would point out things like, why are people burning trash and things like that? Because we live in a local neighborhood. And for me, it's really important to keep the positivity and less scary things and talk about them in a positive way, and instead of talking about the problems, talking about how can we educate people and how can we teach people and show good example. Yeah. So sometimes it can be frightening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, Kania. And I think for us, it's kind of like not blaming the people. So to kind of get rid of that blame culture, like, oh, that's a bad man who's burning the rubbish, or that's a bad person who's thrown rubbish away. It's more about, like you say, giving that example of what do we do with the rubbish when we have it, or like what can we do that's a better choice. So trying to getting rid of that blame, but thinking about what we can do even as a 5-year-old to help the earth.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a double-edged sword, because I remember thinking when I came in grade 8, why are they throwing the trash like in the rice fields? And then my father explained like 30 years ago, it used to be banana leaves, and they would just dissolve. And so that gave me like a little bit more of a perspective, and I think that the kids are also going through that.
Nice. And there's another piece which was part of Earth Week that was planned for the early years as well, that really is connecting and loving nature. You want to share a bit about having a snake expert come to class?
Yeah, so this is always a highlight for our early years classes. So we have a friend who comes in, his name is Pak Ron, and he is kind of known throughout the community. So if there's a snake in someone's house, he'll get a phone call. And actually, when we were doing our time with Kindy, he actually got one of these emergency calls that he had to quickly deal with. So the rest of the Kindy teachers were there holding these snakes for him as he quickly took a call. So yeah, that's definitely was kind of our celebration for Earth Day, was having these snakes. And he also had a tarantula and these giant hissing cockroaches and big snails. So yeah, just celebrating with the children and encouraging them to touch them and to be curious and to ask questions, all the great things that 3, 4, 5, and 6-year-olds do just naturally. Yes.
Awesome. So we're going to move along to our next event that was planned by Fynn. And so we'll show you this video beforehand. It is a life in the morning of a cycle to school.
Yep.
All right, let's go for it.
So first thing for safety, if there's a hole in the ground or you're turning somewhere, you just use your hand.
Beautiful video. Loved the scenery there. It gives you a picture and gives you a bit of an idea of the kind of craziness too. You saw them riding on the road. So what was going through your mind when you planned this event, Fynn?
Ibu Harriet actually suggested it.
Who is Ibu Harriet?
Ibu Harriet is head of high school. And she works with us for Greenstone. And she suggested it, I think about 4 weeks ago, and it fitted perfectly with Greenstone, and my Greenstone is also related to biking. Quick explanation: my Greenstone is to set up a theoretical bike shop, and then add a community to that. And this bike ride was a perfect example for the community aspect of my Greenstone.
Great. And for many of these kids, was that their first time riding to school?
So I had 5 bamboo bikes that I fixed up, and I rented it out to the people, and the money went to a good cause. But most people, surprisingly, had already had bikes, and were pretty experienced because it was about a 40-50 minute ride, a little bit uphill, so a little bit of a gradient. But yeah, no, I was really surprised about like how many people had bikes, and they could easily ride the trip to school.
So how many people in total joined your trip?
So we had a trip from Canggu and from Ubud, and there was about 25-26 people in Canggu. In Canggu area, we left from Woods, so way down at the beach, all the way to Green School. And there was a group of 10 that left from Ubud.
Nice. So just for those people watching, 35 might even be a record for the number of people biking to Green School in a day. We're in the middle of 2 communities, and there isn't that many people who bike to school on a daily basis. Was there any follow-up to this? Like, are some of the people who went on that initial bike ride saying, let's do that again?
So on the initial day, everybody was hyped and was like, "Yeah, let's do it again!" And like, thank you for organizing it. And I organized it with Pekandi, so I have to give him credit. So I don't know if you're watching, but thank you, Pekandi. But since last Thursday, there's been a follow up to this Thursday. So there's been a more solid group, about 10-12 people that came this Thursday, but yeah, we're planning to do it every Thursday.
That's awesome. So I'm just curious, from the initial event, what were some of the things you thought, oh, this was an amazing piece of it, or parts where you're like, I better change that for next time? So how would you evolve this event?
So looking back from last time, We had a little tour through the rice fields. And I mean the rice fields, the paths along the rice fields are already set up because of the farmers. And so we used the pass, but it was beautiful. And I made a drone shot. It's a pity that wasn't in the video. Of the Mount Agung, I think, the rice fields, and then us riding through the rice fields. So yeah, that's definitely a keeper. And we did it. We went to today is also. And then an improvement would be that it would be like split into groups, because there's like fast people that want to go ahead, and then a little bit of slower people until they want to like take it relaxed. We split into two groups today.
I have a 6-year-old, so as we were driving to work on that day, my two kids are like waving out the window at all the cyclists going, and he's like, "Mom, can I not do that? I want to do it next time." So maybe you need like a primary school group,
Definitely.
maybe not quite from so far.
That's a really good point, though. Just the visual of it and the sense of community and the exposure for everybody, because you're probably, I mean, these are not safe roads, really. There's a lot of motorcycles on them. It's experienced biking for a lot of people. But to take ownership of the road is something that is pretty awesome. And as a group, you can do that, huh?
We had an age limit from about grade 9, so only high school, and a little bit of safety guidelines. So if there's like a hole in the road, point at it, wave like which direction you're going, and then so it was me, my dad, Petra. So we had like a couple guides, I would say, to block the road, and then so everybody could go, and so like that it worked together.
I'm going to take this question right now. It asked, are all the Earth Day events student-led in high school, or were you kind of a unique fellow in that way?
So we had the bike ride. We had the event on the field with the gamelan and the mandala. And we had marimba, which was also in high school led. But yeah, I think marimba and the biking to school was about it.
So maybe that's another area. After your experience, would you promote this as something, hey guys, let's step it up. We're high schoolers. We can do this. Would you do that with your peers?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to organize this was a blast. I met new people. For example, Pack Andy. He was a contact that was given to me, and just the joy riding to school, and then after, because I organized a little bit of a snack. So as a group together, we came together and sat down and had that coffee and had a chill. So yeah, that was like really like, yes.
It was definitely a celebration feeling at the end. I wasn't involved with it, but you could definitely kind of feel that excitement of people riding in, and then the kids are like so excited to see all these bikes, and especially the bamboo bikes. And then they're all having drinks. They're like, "Oh, can we not join them?" But yeah, it was a really nice kind of community celebration at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I definitely do promote it.
All right. So I guess we'll go on to our third one, and then we're going to open up for a bit more questions. We've got a bunch of questions coming in from you, the audience around the world. So let's see our third video. This is something that Kania helped to coordinate with a different part of our community, the scholarship parents. Great. So let's let that video roll. So to start off, that building in the background, you might want to explain what it is, Emma, because you pointed this out as we were watching this video.
Yeah, if you saw that really cool looking structure in the background of some of that, that's our school gym. So one of my favorite things about showing people around here is like the things that we take for granted, like our buildings, our classrooms, our school gym are actually like quite unique and yeah, pretty amazing.
And this is something else that actually I'm super grateful for now that we've got open doors, because it's really easy to forget about the beautiful environment that you go to school in, that you're learning in. And something that helps to just bump that up is you have a friend or you meet somebody who is on tour and they just go, wow, what is this place? So for all of you teachers out there, yeah, that's not normal, but you know what? For us, it starts feeling super normal. And that, I think, really, despite having amazing architecture all around, one of the things that holds this place together is the community, the people. And that part never becomes abnormal for me. It's always something quite beautiful. Kania, tell us about our parent community who designed this really cool mandala, which I say is upside down. So,
So one of my favorite things about Green School is actually of how many nationalities we have in the school. We have about, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 35 plus nationalities, people coming from all around the world to come to Green School. And as a part of that, we have our Balinese families who are local here, and their children are attending school here at Green School. And so as a part of my role in bridging our communities into a big community is to involve them in the way that they want to be involved. And there were a few ideas of how they wanted to celebrate Earth Day with the community. But you know, a lot of Balinese people are artists and musicians, so they love that and they want to share that with everyone else. So the idea came from them to create a compostable 2D installation on the field. And everything was made out of bamboo, fruits, and flowers, and things we can find here on the campus, and that they all can decompose. So that was the idea, and inviting everyone from the whole school to kind of put in something as a part of their contribution.
nice. And so it was the responsibility, it was taken on by the local scholarship parents. When it came time to actually deliver on that, were they kind of there holding the ownership, or was it something that was just understood by the community about how to do this?
I think we had to do a lot of organization to make sure that everyone kind of understands what the parents are trying to do. And me and the Green School Foundation team, we take really ownership of that, making sure those translations happen and the organization bit take place. But it ended up being such a nice collaboration with everyone on the field.
Nice. And how does this get organized? Because in a lot of schools, parents aren't just hanging out all day. Here you get some of that, but did you call them in for meetings? How many meetings did you need for this specific group?
Well, Green School is quite different from a lot of schools in terms of how involved the parent community are. You know, that the parents at Green School are always invited on campus, and our Balinese parents have a lot of activities. One of them is actually practicing gamelan, the traditional music orchestra, which they also played on the field, as Fynn mentioned. So they often come and we would just approach them and say, you know, what would you like to do? What are you motivated to do to celebrate Earth Day? And they would come up with the suggestion.
Nice. So what I understand is you kind of hijack the gamelan attraction and use that. That's brilliant. Other schools I know have done similar ones with, hey, let's have a baking sale or something. Everybody likes food. And so it brings people together. And then you can use that as a point for planning other events?
Yes, I think music brings people together, and everyone loves music and have appreciation for it. And I think that was a trigger and a magnet to getting everyone on the field to completing the installation.
The installation as well, it like looks so big and attractive. It was like this huge big circle on the field, and I think that's something Green School does really well, is to kind of sow a seed of curiosity. So like I heard a lot of kids being like, oh, what is that, what are they going to do with it? And then there was kind of different stations around the field, and it's kind of like that element of surprise. You don't tell exactly what it's going to be, but that kind of curiosity, the attraction of the color, of like the size of it, of the like loudness of the sound, definitely draws people in as well.
Yeah, so less
it's always a
communication.
question, what's going to happen next at Green School, isn't it?
And then when it comes to the reflection, the learning that you had, did it run without a hitch? Were there things that you're like, next time I'm going to switch out this, or how about we try this? What's your reflection on the experience?
But there were definitely challenges given the amount of people on campus that day, and trying to organize hundreds of people to do things at exact time. That was impossible. And I think no matter how much we prepare, things would always just flow naturally when it comes to involving so many community members. But we did realize that we didn't have enough of the materials, because we didn't expect it to get to be so big, and measuring all of the items and the materials, that we could have done better for next time. But also it's not as easy to find to actually outline the map. As you can see, it's kind of a little bit crooked. So that was a learning experience, and but it was the process that made it really beautiful. And then we had to also put numbers on each material that we want to put in each area. And there were just some kids, some little ones, who just threw things at random places, and you can't avoid that, and that's part of the fun. So
Actually, just from what you mentioned there, my math teacher brain's like, oh my gosh, this would be an amazing scale activity. So even finding ways to bring the concept and move it into a grade who are kind of at that level of development, and it can really challenge them but become a real thing. That could be a really amazing collaboration for the future.
absolutely, yeah.
Why do you think it's important that every group, like we've just demonstrated, has a piece in this?
Well, I think when we think about our mission as a school, which is we are a community of learners making our world sustainable, that local to global part is really important, that you think globally, but you really act locally. You start from here. You start from where you are. And our community is an example of, passionate sustainability advocates. And I think the way we do everything here at the school surrounds community and supporting first the local community here, and educating them and getting them to be involved. But actually, we had some Cool Connection students joining the installation as well. And this is a separate program from our scholarship program. There's a few hundred kids who come here to the Green School community to learn English every day at the school. And this is a program that we started because we want to give as much as possible to the community here in Sibang Kaja village. And so involving them in all parts of activities is super important in achieving our mission.
Awesome. Did you want to add anything? No? So I'm going to take some questions that I've got from the audience. Feel so fancy having them digitally put right there. This makes my heart glow because it's from Kipras Milaknis, who was one of my students when I came to Green School really early in like 2014, 2015. And he's right now in Vilnius, Lithuania. And he said, hey, one of the biggest highlights from learning at Green School was its strong community, something that I felt was missing in other schools that I attended. How does Green School achieve it? what do community members do to build and maintain a strong community? So I think you were already on that line of answering that question, but it would be awesome to hear what two other members think.
So I can't agree more with the first part. But I think the core of getting the whole community involved with the school is it's newsletters, it's assemblies, it's communication, exactly. And through the communication, through the communication, it's like unique because it like nearly invites you into the school with its assembly, with its community, everybody singing, and so yeah.
What do you think, Emma?
Yeah, for sure. I've taught in a few different schools now, and I think, there's something very special about the Green School community. Kind of as an educator, there's definitely like an extra special sense of care that we have for the students that, is definitely different from other schools that I've taught in. Just children are just welcome to be who they are. We're not about kind of looking for children to act in a certain way or to fit into a certain box, but it's very much we meet the children where they're at. There's a lot of communication with parents, which I think makes parents feel more welcomed, more comfortable. Like they know that, the child's best interests are at our heart as educators. It's not like a checklist to get through everything. So I think that's definitely a part of it. And then also, it's a real special community of parents. I think we've mentioned a few times, like pre-COVID times, parents were welcomed on campus. They were here a lot. Parents are kind of very much welcome. Kind of teachers and parents almost have kind of a friendship element that in other schools you don't see that often. It's kind of like, okay, here's your child and off we go. I think it comes from all different angles. There's not a one answer to it. And I think even for us, like here, there's a little piece of mystery, like what exactly is it that makes this place special?
I'm just going to throw it out here that a lot of the parents are on holiday. So they're feeling pretty good about life, less stress and more time to engage. And maybe there's even something in that, just the fact that because they have more time, it does create a community, and it takes all members to create that community. Like you said, we know parents because we see them often and can create a relationship with them that's beyond just, what's this report card say kind of thing. So, I'm going to go on to the next one. This is from Shanghai, China, Janine Lawrence. She asked, which strategies do you recommend to inspire others, teachers and students to get on board for Earth Day events? So she said in her school, she feels like the service learning culture has to be changed. They think of it, well, I'm guessing service learning is something isolated. Do you have any ideas of how you can open it up, use an event like Green Day to make it more omnipresent?
I think wherever you are in the world, you spend some part of your day outdoors, whether you're in a cold climate. I'm sure at some point you're putting on a coat and a jacket and a scarf or all these different things and going out, whether you're just walking to a shop or whether you're taking your kids out on some kind of walk or hike. Everybody somewhere spends time outside. And it's really about kind of, inspiring and just helping people realize that the earth matters, being outside matters. And I think everyone has a little part of that. Everyone enjoys seeing a sunrise and a sunset and being in a beautiful place that's unspoiled. So it's kind of encouraging and inspiring that we all have that in our hearts in some kind of capacity and making a day to celebrate that.
Good. All right. This next one is from Kilifi, Kenya. Super cool. From Lisa Olive. She said, we're planning a fundraising event for tree planting of a newly created green corridor bordering our school, as well as tree planting itself. Any ideas you want to throw out on how to make the tree planting event better? She's asking for any considerations. Go for it, team.
So I'm just gonna maybe a little bit off topic, but what happens on Green School is we organize an event. So let's say the bike ride, we organize a event, involve the community, and then with that maybe what I made a flyer and I rented out the bikes, but you can have like a little not an assembly, but like
Ceremony.
a ceremony.
I was thinking ceremony, actually.
Ceremonies, yeah. But also that you share what you're doing, and then most people will be like kind enough to give some.
I think it's also about building an excitement for an event like this and trying to get all different members involved. Like for Earth Week, we also had like a whole school planting. So like the early years were planting vegetables in parts of our gardens, and then the primary school were like planting in these coconut pieces, and kind of middle school, what were they doing? They were doing rice planting. High school were planting bamboo shoots. So everybody had a part to play in it. So if there's some way that with your green corridor, how do you get the youngest community members involved all the way up to the oldest ones and like teachers and community members, whether you can think of, just like a little piece, whether it's primary or creating the flyers for it. And then the early years are there to like play music and ring tambourines, I don't know, or something like that. But really giving each community member a part to play, I think builds that excitement as well.
We've done something similar, I think, in the Green School with the Carbon Zero program, where we ask each individual members of the community to calculate their carbon, or that they can offset their carbon by planting bamboo. So they can either plant bamboo or donate. So every time you fly to one part of the world, the carbon calculated is a certain number, and then you have to donate a certain amount of money. And it's not a large amount of money, but through that you can measure the impact that you're creating through planting, but also you can do some fundraising with that as well. So branding it as a carbon offsetting program could be something to explore.
Yeah, one further thing as well, just thinking as we're talking, is also about like the maintenance of the green corridor. So like in early years, we have different days where we're feeding either the ducks or the chickens, and I know the grade 3 look after the rabbits, and all different classes will like go and visit the pigs on campus and things like that. So whether you can get your community being part of maintaining that green corridor, or coming out to kind of weed it, or to water it, and all those things too.
That's actually a really good point, because maintenance is a challenge for any of these types of things. Even here, we've got, I've been gone for a couple of years, and I can see a lot of the projects that I did with kids don't get maintained. It's hard to have that kind of ongoing legacy. When it comes to a forest, though, it can provide. And so go agroforest, throw in a lot of fruit trees, throw in things that people want to be around, and then suddenly, rather than somewhere that just creates a nice barrier, it's somewhere you can go to get a snack during the day.
That happens a lot around school. There's passion fruits and all these different things, berries and things, and yep, they definitely go.
Awesome. So the next question is from Sally in the UK. She asked, I'm curious how Earth Day events and activities can be designed to create an ongoing impact in terms of mindset and behavior change. So, for example, with the awesome bike ride, how could it lead to more sustainable travel in the school? Is there something you explicitly consider or include? And if so, how?
That is a tough question. But I think you have to start small. Because it's not the easiest. As you can see, we had at last Thursday we had 35 people, and now we have 12. And so you have to start small with maybe also one day a week, doing a bike ride, and that gets the ball rolling. And it does tap into the minds of people that like a change like that in your morning, going out early, cycling to green school, can it
You
have
also
an
have to
impact.
cycle home as well.
Exactly, after school as well.
That's the less fun
And
part.
what you said before, if we go with a group cycle to school along the roads, then people will naturally see us. So it creates like a little ripple effect, and so that's how it like expands.
Cool. And then another part to that is, okay, so you can start small, but you also need to avoid the sort of novelty factor. So it's about habit building. And like you said, it's really fun to do something once, but how do you maintain that habit? So just a suggestion for something like the bike ride would be, sounded like everybody got excited about free drinks at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
But what if the drinks got bigger each bike ride you went on, and soon you're getting like a milkshake or something super delicious that everybody's jealous of? So some kind of ongoing reminder that this is good. I want to continue doing this beyond just being good for the world and good for me.
Yeah, exactly. And then we wanted to kick the bike ride off with Earth Day. So it'd be one big event and then continue it throughout the year. And we are doing that.
Nice. This is a really great question from Janine in the Netherlands. She said, how were we able to keep close ties with the community during COVID? I wasn't here for most of it, but my feeling is for a school that's community oriented, we suffered. That's my feeling. But you guys have been here, so please share.
Yeah, sure. Well, I know that our Cool Connection program that involved hundreds of local kids, and they loved coming to Green School every day after school. And when COVID stopped, it was quite a challenge for many of them not to have that connection with each other and not to continue their learning here. But we continued that with online learning. And it was also a challenge for the team to make sure that each lesson is exciting and fun. So, but we continue to there has to be effort shown, and somebody has to continue and reach out and be in that positive mindset, because a lot of it was needed during the time.
Yeah, and then from a teacher's point of view, I think it was definitely difficult, and we were used to having parents kind of on the campus, and kind of at the end of the day, they would be there around for a while. And I think part of that kind of community feel was lost over kind of that COVID time, and a lot of people are feeling like it's kind of coming back. From a teacher's point of view, we had sent out a lot more kind of communication than we maybe did before. Like at the end of each week, we send out a weekly newsletter, kind of explaining what we did and sending pictures, just to try and kind of keep that feeling of connection. And I think that's something that's been great, and maybe it's something that we'll continue on doing, because kind of as a parent of a child, Kania, you might feel the same. Like at the end of the day, you ask your child, oh, what did you do? How was your day? And you don't get that much of an answer. So having that information, and it's also something that I sometimes share with like my family at home and everything as well, so that they can see it. And then, just probably for teachers as well, taking that extra time. Maybe there was more emailing going on to try and get that connection. We still had that pick up and drop off time. That's been really important to kind of have those Passover conversations as well. So in some ways, it's shifted a little bit. The parents are not like kind of around the classrooms all that much. We just had an event today, and there's some parents saying like, oh, this is like the first time or the second time we've been down and seen the classroom since my child has started. Trying to bring that back a little bit as well, to kind of have that connection where the parents know the learning space, which again, I think is different from other schools. Maybe some schools you never see the child's classroom, but for Green School, that's quite normal for the parents like to see it. And especially in early years, they used to pick up and drop off right in the classrooms.
Nice.
Extra effort, I would say.
So we're running low on time, and this is a great question because we have a guy who's about to graduate. So what do the children who graduate from Green School aspire to be? This is for Rose Manuel. location unknown. And how do you articulate what you want to be or aspire to be? And she asks, is there anyone who's really been a highlight? Is there a graduate from Green School that you guys all go? It's pretty awesome that person is doing.
So I myself wasn't here for COVID either. We moved to Holland, and really quick, I went to a business school, so a very commercial school, you'd say. And as a Green School member, you would say, "What business? Like really?" But as I came back after COVID this year, it really highlighted for me that sustainability is a big part of me, and this is also what my greenstone is about. A bit like the balance of the big business and sustainability, and that's why I'm also building a bike shop. So that's sustainable, getting people on the bike, getting to ride around instead of taking the bike, for example, and also having the business aspect. And for me, very much a hero would be Isabel and Malati, yes. Malati from Bye Bye Plastic Bag, because they stepped up to the government. They have connections to the government, and yeah, it's very, very like wow what they're doing.
Awesome.
I think it's great as well. Like, as Fynn had mentioned before, it's like starting small is an important piece of it. And I think it's easy to look up to like some of the students that have graduated, and there's been a lot of kids who have done something really amazing. But something that always inspires me each year is looking at the culmination project in the Greenstone and kind of seeing every single student is coming out of Green School with a special little something. Something that's kind of been planted in their hearts and that I'm sure will kind of come into fruition in different ways. So yeah, I think that's something that's special. There's a lot of inspiration just in the small things as well as in the big things.
Definitely.
I think also what I love about the Green School is that we do not generalize anyone in the school, and our seniors, they're able to express themselves fully and make a decision for what they want to do after Green School. So some students, they choose to go to a 4-year university, and that's amazing. But there are some students who tend to take a gap year and to kind of figure out what they want to do, what they're passionate in, volunteer, start their own projects. And I think that's really inspiring because you can't imagine at that age, 17, 18, knowing exactly what you want to do or what you want to study. For some, it's great to know that. But for others who want to take some time, I think we really appreciate that as well. And we love that about our students and their confidence in choosing that.
Yeah, and I'm not sure whether it's something like completely different. Like the question is, what do the children who graduate aspire to be? And I'm not sure it's necessarily something so radically different from a regular high school. It's just they have, the extra confidence, I think, as Kania said. Like, I remember the first time I saw a Greenstone and I was like, I can't even imagine doing something like that at 17, 18. It's like in front of all these people and broadcast. Right? But yeah, that's coming up. Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely an extra special piece of something that's there. But there's definitely that kind of regular piece of that they'll be what they're going to be, if that makes sense.
It makes
We're not
sense.
like superhuman, strange people. We're regular people, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Pretty normal. Yeah. So that's our time. Thank you, our 3 panelists, for coming and joining for this chat. It was amazing. And just for the audience, we've got the Green Educators Network, which we are building. This is a place for us to talk about education. So we'll be doing a lot more of this kind of conversation, providing the resources to help you understand some of the methodologies behind the madness, because sometimes it is mad. And then also we've got the Green Educators Foundations course, which allows you to engage with some of our faculty and go through the process. For me, it's such an inspiring thing because what I've learned from this is this is not unique. A lot of people talk about us living in a bamboo bubble, but actually the reality is there's thousands of educators all around the world who are just biting at the bit to make the change. And they aren't just educators, they're school leaders, they're parents, everybody. So we look forward to seeing you on the network or in one of the courses. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thank you, Pat Noan.
Thank you.